Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. If I seem a little groggy this morning, I'm trying not to. Trust me, I want to be. But if I do seem that way, it's because I haven't been to bed yet. It's just one of those nights for those of you that's done, first responder, fire department, that kind of stuff. It's just been an all-nighter. They didn't leave me alone at all last night. So maybe I'll get a nap today, but we'll see. I also want to remind you before I get started with this video of a really great deal. For those of you that's tried it, our friends, my wife and I are some of our very best friends. They have a soap making business, and it's all homemade, handmade, excellent quality. It's the only thing I use on my beard and my hair, okay? It's really good. Everyone I've ever heard that's tried it absolutely loves it. It's beef tallow base, most of it. There's a few others, but it's mostly beef tallow base. Extremely good, very thick lather. I've never had homemade soap that lathers so good. It's good stuff. Anyways, it's Grafted and Grace Creations.com. And right now they're offering a 15% off discount if you use the promo code ThankYou15. Thank you, 15. I'll leave a link down below for you to go to. But they're running I don't know, just a special. You got to do that every once in a while. So, anyways, I know that it's become very apparent for some of you that most of you have been probably in the same boat as I have been for a while. That it's been a long time obvious thing that the next election's gonna be not normal, right? But I think there's been some people that's been hopeful. But over the things that's happened over the last couple of weeks with Trump, the conviction, 34 felonies, all the kind of stuff that's going on, that there's now rumors now, I guess the judge's daughter has been making statements that her father's planning on putting Trump in jail. So I don't know. Anyways, I think it's become very overtly obvious that the odds of the election this November being normal are just non-existent. That's even assuming that there will be an election. I mean, there may not even be an election, okay? I think that's very definitely on the table. I'm not saying that that's 100% sure, but it's more so on the table, I'd say, than that has ever been before in American history. That there's enough of a possibility to even consider it, that we may not even have an election come November. There's too many things, World War III and pandemic and stuff, and even if there is an election, it could be very manipulated. Much more of a shut down, stay at home, mail in your ballots. There's so many other things, and then if there is an election, the illegals, the manipulation, the vote, tampering, all those kinds of things. Because I think it's quite clear now that they will stop at nothing to keep control. They will stop at nothing to push their agenda. This idea that, one man's going to get elected and he's just going to turn things around and it's all just going to be hunky-dory. I mean, if you admit that the last election, they messed with it, that kept him from being reelected, and what's to stop him this time, especially with all the things they've done in between now, the last 4 years. And I saw a guy on the internet yesterday, and I'm not here to discourage anyone. This guy was like, oh yes, Trump's going to definitely be elected in November, and by this time next year, things will already start getting back to normal. The border will be shut down, the economy will be on the mend, and things are going to be just great. That would be awesome if that happened, at least things getting fixed, but I don't think it's very likely, okay? And I want to talk about, yes, I know, I've gone around the barn several times to get to the door. I'm a hillbilly. That's how we talk. I'm not one of you northerners that talk so fast. I know you talk so fast because it's so cold up there. Your mouth will freeze. You got to keep talking to keep it from freezing. I get it. But anyways, if you haven't noticed, they just did a presidential election in Mexico. And while I'm not here to say that what's happened in that election is what's going to happen here in the United States, I think it's a pretty good example of what the powers that be are willing and capable of to get their agenda. So, in case you haven't kept up on it, they elected the first woman as president of Mexico. She's also extremely liberal. And when I say liberal, I mean we're probably talking like left of Nancy Pelosi. Very, very out there socialist liberal, pro-transgender, pro-child sex changes, you pick the most liberal position, and she's probably to the left of it. She's Jewish, which is strange because the Jewish population of Mexico is 0.04%, with like 70 to 80% being Catholic. It's just a really odd situation. Why, like, how in the world did this person get elected when she doesn't seem to represent the majority in Mexico? And I know you could say, well, it's probably the cartels. Could be, or it could be the cartels being paid by, the globalist elite, or it could be globalist elites making it look like cartels. I don't know, but here's some more. During this election, between the other presidential candidates and then other offices for like governor and mayor and stuff that were, because, they had several elections all at once, like we do here. 38 people have been assassinated. 38 candidates for different offices have been assassinated in Mexico. By far a record for them. Now, yes, they're third world, and assassination of political candidates certainly happens way more there than it does here, because it's almost never happens here. It's never been that high. 37, 38 is the number. Assassinated. Several people that were running for various office threatened, assaulted. The bloodiest and most violent election in Mexico's history. Was that just a coincidence? Did that just happen? I'm not saying that I absolutely know that these events happened because of these World Economic Forum globalists, Satanists that were behind it, but it does sound like, or at least looks like, it's possible. It's a possibility. And so my question is, or the thought is that if they've done this in Mexico to get someone that on the surface you just can't imagine anyone in Mexico voting for this person, but yet won the presidential election, are they willing to go to those extremes and to those measures here in the United States? Will we see assassinations? There have been several people, I believe Tucker Carlson, Alex Jones, probably a few others, that said that they see a very strong possibility that Donald Trump could be assassinated, or at least a strong attempt to do that before the election. I think what we saw in Mexico, I don't believe, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't believe what's happened in Mexico with the assassinations and the violence and all this stuff surrounding this election that they just had. I don't think it's just drug cartels at war with each other trying to get their man in. I'm sure that's part of it, but then the question is who's pushing the drug cartels? I feel pretty strongly that this craziness for their election is also a big part of this globalist New World Order, Great Reset, New Normal. Because most of the people that got elected, even though it was through violence, are very strongly supportive of these New World Order ideas. And so as we're entering into the election cycle for us for this year, I mean, we've already watched Trump be convicted of the felonies. There's other outstanding cases that are going. They're trying to put him in jail. There's all kinds, that this recent thing's big, but there's still other things going on. We've got the Biden administration lying absolutely absurdly. I mean, it's to the point that it's probably going to make Orson Welles, envious that he didn't come up with this kind of stuff. And so the question is to what extent are they willing to go this election cycle to stay in power? And we need to be cautious of that. We need to be aware of that, because the amount of chaos and violence and stuff that we could see between now and the election could be quite great. Whether it's through pandemic, through riots, through race riots, through other social, the transgender and the pro-Hamas and all that kind of stuff. The violence of all these people that's come across the border, who knows? But the possibility, the very likelihood that we will see things start to just really fall apart in this country over the next few months, I think are becoming more and more likely. We need to be ready for that. And I know that most of you are. I know we've talked about this. I know you're talking about this. I know you're aware of it. But 38 political candidates assassinated in just a short amount of time for one election cycle. That's crazy. And if we could see that level of seriousness applied to the American election cycle, who knows what we will see? I mean, obviously already what they're willing to do with Trump. You need to wake up, folks. You need to stock up. You need to train up. You need to pray up. You need to prep up, and just get ready. Because I said this the other day. If by the 1st of next year, the election's gone on normal, calm, smooth, easy, calm transition of power or staying in power, whatever happens, but it's all done very smoothly and normal and above bar. If that's what happens, I will most assuredly get on here and say that, man, I was wrong and I'm totally shocked that this is what happened. But I'm pretty sure I'm not going to have to do that. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some pretty crazy stuff. And you need to get ready for that. Wake up, get up, and do something about it. Don't just sit and watch videos and read commentary and stuff about what's going on. Get up and be active. Do something to prepare. And you need to be doing it on a very, very regular basis, because November will be here before you know it. And I suspect all of these things will start happening long before November gets here. It's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.